Okay, so this dream that I'm sharing, let's see, right after the day I went to the food bank, which was Friday, a week ago Friday. And so I had that dream. I woke up that next morning, Saturday morning. And then I had another, so I had a synchronicity with it the day before at the food bank. And then the day after with these numbers. And then it just took me a while to share it because the eclipse went on that hike, enjoyed my, and then I wanted to share it either later that day or the next day, and I just, yeah, right. So I feel like I'm just coming back to life. So just in time for the weekend to, it's gonna heat up again. So get the little pool cleaned out and enjoy the sunshine. And so, um, so on Friday when I'm at the food bank and they call your name when they bag up your groceries and do it all for you. So, um, and I've heard my mother's name, my father's name, which is Candace and Mark. I've also heard um, Kim, which is my younger sister. I've heard Christina, which is my older sister. I believe I've heard Jason as well. Yeah, which is my brother. Um, but this day in particular, and I've heard the multiple times of those names. So um, we just all happen to go on the same day sometimes. So I heard a version of my twin's name, Ivan, and then I heard a Christina, which is the exact version of my late older sister's name, Christina Marie, actually, born and died, well, 41 years in between, but which is how old I am now. She was born on the 18th of December, week before Christmas, died on her birthday, 41st birthday. Christina Marie. Sister Sag, I call her. I refer to her as. Because now she's just her energy, whatever. So, but anyway, Ivan and Christina. Okay, so of course, I make the correlation. Okay, I'm like, oh, of course, everywhere I go. And lots of names lately, especially. I'm just sharing this one incident with these names. Oh gosh. There's one I can't even share because I want to respect the privacy of my twins. But um, so excuse me. So I go home. Okay, whatever. I hear those names. I'm like, oh yeah, good. So that night, though, my sister and my twin both visit me in my dream. So that was kind of like their higher selves coming in, letting me know they, were gonna come visit me or communicate, whatever. Um, I mean, it was somebody I know, but it's just the coinciding of the timing and stuff. So, and I didn't hear my mom's name, dad, anything like that. Just those two that had any resonance that I had any resonance with. So, I get home, have the dream. Last little bit before I wake up is so just the segment of that involves my twin and my sister. So it seems like this big library, kind of like you would see like in a big city or big university, or actually kind of, but smaller, like a high school sort of, like the one in. I just kept thinking of the one in that movie, The Breakfast Club, because it's like a second story, but you can see the platform. It's like wide open, even though it's the next story up. So, I was like in this little group over to the side, and we were like collaborating, brainstorming on something, kind of like sitting on the table and this and that, and just kind of like creating a mural or something, like engaging in some kind of creative project or something, brainstorming and some kind of synergy with. We're all focused on some project. So, I look up the stairs and on the platform there, and we're not looking directly. I'm just seeing him out of the corner of my eye. I kind of see the back of his head, and then I see him sit in a certain way to where he can look at me, but not directly. So it's like out of our peripheral vision. We're kind of like, so we definitely know we have our eyes on each other, and but it's not that direct. Okay. So I see him, he sees me. I'm down here with this group of people. He's up there with his own group of people, and they're sitting around a table, all in chairs and stuff. And we're kind of being artsy, you know, like in an art class. You can sit on the floor, you can sit on the table, you can sit however you want to, you know, sit outside, different. So the next time I look up there, and it's just a platform by itself, the staircase, and like a big platform with a big like square table, and they're all around it, but just enough for that. Okay. And then it's just the wall right there. Okay, so the next time I looked up there, they were gone, but it wasn't like gone. I felt like they were still like on campus, sort of a feeling, you know, they're still here somewhere, just not in my line of sight. Like they went back to class or something, you know what I mean? But they're still on campus kind of feeling. Because it kind of had that sort of university kind of ish vibe to it. And learning environment, creative environment, collaborating, okay, very collaborative. So I notice he's gone, and I have that feeling like, okay, I know he's gone, but he's still close by. And I walk over, and it's kind of dark, and so it's kind of like under the, actually it's it was directly under the platform of where they were. I didn't realize that at first until I kind of sensed that as I was asking my sister. All of a sudden my sister appeared, because I walked over there to under, I guess I was kind of like, just so you know, did they go under here? Well, whatever. But I was drawn to walk under there, and it was dark under there. Because it was like under this, it was open, but it was like under this platform, so it was blocking the light, you know. And I just telepathically asked my sister, where'd they go, or where is he, or something like that. Or maybe I was asking for confirmation that was him or whatever. And she just pointed straight up. So I was like, yeah, I had a feeling, I felt like I was right under the platform. And that's sort of more watery, feminine, communicating with feminine. So it's not quite, it was more just like an instinctual, everything happening at once, and just an instinct of, and just a confirmation of that instinct. It wasn't so specific, you know. That's why I have a hard time explaining that part, but I think that's why, because it was my sister and I. And she was just kind of reflecting back to me what I already knew, and so she was just confirming it, like, they're up there. That was him, yes, that was, you know, they were doing the learning and stuff. And so then, okay, I was just like, okay, so I felt better about that. And then the next, it shoots right to the next scene. Right after that is, I'm like in this, kind of seems like a basement-y, like institutional kind of big kitchen, like janitor area, big wide open, like giant sink and all that kind of dingy, like janitorial big area though, like a big industrial, you know. I felt like because I was standing at the sink, I felt like I was cleaning up stuff, or maybe just finished cleaning up, because I remember kind of looking around, and the sink was empty, there was no dishes piled up, so I'm like, even though it was kind of, you know, a funky, big, just industrial cleaning area, there wasn't really much for me to do. All the dishes were done, everything was in its place. I was like, you know, it's not perfect, but there's, you know, I can't find anything else to do there. So, and that was just a brief second. All of a sudden, I'm there in front of that sink, and I kind of feel like, you know, like when you throw the towel over your shoulder when you're a dishwasher or a cook. I've been both, and you just kind of like, that's when you're done, you know. It's like, or you slap the towel over the edge of the, so I felt like it was like the towel, okay, done at the, okay, the last wiping down of things or whatever, and nothing more for me to do. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm done here. And I look over to my right, and there's like this little corridor way, like a little, um, like if there was a closet there, but no wall or door on it, and then another, like a big hallway behind it or something. It was just like this one little spot, little square little spot of like walking in between where I was and like this hallway that connected to it or something. So it was just like the size, like an elevator, size of an elevator area, kind of, but no doors, wall, no doors on it. I mean, there were walls there, but the door was clear. It was like a sliding glass door, but like it just automatically opened as soon as I looked over. Like as soon as I was done, I looked over to my right, and there he is standing. And there was no light in that little square little area, but there was enough light from where I was to shine in there. And because it was a glass door, I could see clearly with just that little bit of light. So I could see my twin standing there, and he just very solemn, straight look on his face, and his eyes all red, welled up with tears. And there was this moment of, again, like all this stuff happening at once, and instead of, right, all the chatter wants to come in at once now. It's like every little bit of chatter that would come trickling in all wants to come in at once. And then you release it and surrender and accept and allow and receive. And that's what I did. It felt like it all happened simultaneously. Because as soon as I saw him, it was like that process happened, the door opened. So it was almost as if as soon as I saw him, the door opened. That's how fast that process took place. And so as soon as that slid right open, and it was a clear door, like I said, glass, I could see perfectly clearly. And I think he was just wearing a plain, like, white t-shirt, plain, like, light blue jeans kind of a look. Just very light colored clothes. But yeah, just like I remember it was just like a plain white t-shirt, nothing fancy. And his eyes were red, and they were filled with tears, and he had just a straight look on his face, and he was just standing straight right there, arms at his side, legs together, whatever. Like he would stand in an elevator or a closet where there wasn't too much room, but very alert, staring directly at me this time, and me at him as well. So so the door slides open, and we just embrace, and he walks towards me, and I can't remember exactly. I remembered right away. This is why I should have done this right away, but it was still kind of the same thing like he said last time. It was just kind of like, you, I'm drawn to you. I'm drawn to you. I can't stay away from you. It's you, like the you kind of a thing, and I've had this embrace with him in the physical, but in in dreams and everything, there's been different things, but it was never like this. Like it really was like a heartfelt connection. We embraced directly, like squaring each other, heart to heart, face to face. And I just remember how it felt. So he's just a couple inches shorter than me, or I should say I'm a couple inches taller, whatever. And so it was really easy for me to put my arms up around like his neck, up over his shoulders, and how you, like when you're holding hands with someone, or you're touching their neck or their leg, and you just use your thumb and you gently stroke back and forth on their hand or their leg or their shoulder, wherever you're touching them, and just do that with your thumb, how you do with someone that you feel that way about. And so I just remember embracing him, and with my right hand, I was doing that with my right thumb on the back of his neck, just slowly stroking back and forth with my thumb, touching the skin on his neck. And it was like that coming home embrace is the best way I can describe it, of how it's almost like the strength, that pillar that you have to be to receive someone when they come home, because they may come home broken, and or broken in a way that they're like, they've just been broken down by God. Like they're so sorry, they're so whatever, they're so ready they're so, okay, open, okay? And that's exactly how I felt. Just open to receiving him coming home. And it was just really simple. And neutral, and it didn't feel like romantic, really. I mean, it did. It was my twin, but it was just like it could have been anyone. I could have been receiving my son coming home after, you know, having troubles in life, or you know what I mean. Just it was just pure unconditional love is what it was, and being totally receiving, giving and receiving of that. And yeah, it was, we were mirroring that with each other. So yeah, I just wanted to share that. But so the synchronicities with the name, and then I had that dream, and I had texted my neighbor because we split the bills, a couple of the bills. So we split the internet bill, and then we he does 1/3 of the PG&E. I do 2/3. I just said six. It was just 16 when I said 1/3 and 2/3. So so the bill was $204. Okay, so half of that is $102, and then 20 is half of the internet. So his share was going to be $122. Okay, and then my brother out here keeps saying the 122, so I'm like, I wasn't even going to mention that, but he keeps saying 122, so I'm like, I guess I got to mention 122. Okay, so, because that wasn't even like, that's not even the synchronicity for me, that's for somebody else, and he kept saying 122. I'm like, okay, so I'll just mention that part. So originally it was 122, but I had messed up and did half of the PG&E instead of the 1/3 like I was supposed to do. So when I figured that out, the next day I was just going through my text to delete, clean up my phone, you know, delete, call log, text, whatever. And so I read through it. I'm like, just make sure there's nothing important, like someone's address, whatever I need to put in my contacts or whatever. And I just looked at the clock again at 17:17. Excuse me. So I realized I had messed up, so I recalculated it. So I did 1/3 of the 204, which was whatever it was. It was 68, because when I added it to the 20, it ended up being 88, which is the year my twin was born. So, yeah. I had to share that too, because it was like boom, boom, boom. Friday I had one, then Saturday I had the dream, and then I believe Sunday is when I corrected myself in hell. So it was after the dream anyway. So it was just like, okay, it all makes sense now. So yeah, just wanted to share that. I love you guys. Blessings to you all, and peace be upon you all.